Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome. I am Professor Jill Castle, the Marshal of the George Washington University. And on behalf of my colleagues who are here with me today and my colleagues across the university, I am delighted to welcome all of you to this graduate student convocation. Let me begin by introducing the student conveners of this event, Chris Diaz and Tura Woods. Chris Diaz is a native of Hollywood, Florida. He received his Bachelor of Arts in Criminal Justice at GW, and he's currently a second-year graduate student in the Graduate School of Education and Human Development. He is a Presidential Administrative Fellow who worked last year in the Student Activity Center on Colonial Inauguration, the orientation program for new freshmen at the university, and he'll be working this year in the office of the Provost and the Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs. Tura Woods is a native of Queens, New York. She's also a Presidential Administrative Fellow. She is in the Office of the President, and she is also working on a master's degree in Organizational Sciences in Columbian College of Arts and Sciences. She also has her undergraduate degree from GW. She received a Bachelor of Arts from the Elliott School of International Affairs. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to call forth Chris Diaz and Tura Woods.
Good evening and welcome to the George Washington University. I would like to welcome all of you guys as new graduate students. My GW graduate school experience has been nothing short of amazing. It's provided the opportunity for me to network with the leading professionals in higher education, like Dr. Kristen Wren, who is spearheading research on identity issues among college students. It has opened the door for me to join the two largest student affairs professional organizations, the National Association of Student Personnel Administrators and the American College Personnel Association. Additionally, I had the opportunity to take 12 undergraduate students on an alternative spring break trip to Miami, where we worked on issues of juvenile justice and truancy. These experiences have put me on the path to become a high school principal, where I will be on the front line fighting for all students to have equal access to college, no matter their socioeconomic background. As GW graduate students, your experiences here are going to lead you to your own unique path, and I am excited to hear, read, and see the ways you affect the global community that is GW.
Good evening. I haven't even started my master's yet, but I already can see how my degree in organizational sciences will help me to become a consultant for international companies and organizations. Specifically, I'm interested in helping organizations redesign work processes that will help organizations to become more effective in our global environment. To that end, I plan to concentrate my coursework in the areas of strategy and change management.
2 years ago, the president of the university, Dr. Stephen Knapp, encouraged us to explore ways of welcoming and uniting GW's graduate student community. In response to President Knapp's encouragement, a group of university administrators and graduate students gathered to design this event.
Tonight, you will hear from a number of members of this community. As President Knapp's student liaison, I have the honor of working alongside him with student issues affecting our community. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the president of the George Washington University, Dr. Stephen Knapp.
Well, thank you very much, and I'm very glad to be able to participate for the second time now in this event in which we welcome our graduate students and professional students to the George Washington University. And I'd like to extend a very warm welcome on behalf of the Board of Trustees, of which I'm a member, also on behalf of the faculty of the university, of which I'm a member. And we have, I think, an interesting panel that will be addressing you today. And I particularly want to recognize you'll be hearing from our new provost, brand new provost, who will be telling you about what it's like to be a graduate student. That's going to be one of the focus of his remark. But we also have the president and president-elect of the George Washington University's Alumni Association. We're very glad to have them here to give their perspective and appreciate their, of course, they're volunteers, so we appreciate everything they do for us and for the life of this university. You know, we have a very large community of graduate and professional students here. Actually, 5,100 plus new graduate and professional students are joining the university this year. Altogether, graduate and professional students make up 58% of our entire student body, and we have 180, more than 180 graduate and professional programs here at the George Washington University. When we teach on multiple campuses, as you know, because some of you have participated in programs that have various locations across the greater Washington area and in Northern Virginia, but we really do want to make an effort to have you feel that you are very much a part of the university community and that you're welcome to the Foggy Bottom campus, to our Mount Vernon campus, to really think of yourselves as part of this great university community. We are steadily advancing in our aspiration to be stronger, more visible, and to contribute more profoundly as a research university. We are the largest university in the heart of this nation's capital. We're an increasingly global university, and both of those aspirations to be recognized as a world-class university globally and here in the United States are directly connected to what you all bring to the university. You cannot be a great research university without the kinds of stellar graduate students that we are attracting and are very proud to attract to this university, because a lot of the groundbreaking work that takes place in the university is, frankly, the work of graduate students working hand in hand with their mentors, with their faculty mentors. And we're very proud of our graduate and professional programs in multiple schools across the university, and it's through our graduate and professional students that we have much of the impact that we do in the world of policy and in the worlds of business. And you've heard about some of the disciplines in which graduate students here are enrolled that have a direct relation to what goes on in the world, and Washington, D.C. is a splendid setting to pursue the kinds of professional interests in policy, in public health, in medicine, in law, whatever your particular discipline may be. This is a place that it really makes sense to engage the world. We have a slogan now. We talk about engaging the world through this capital city, which has become increasingly a great international city. And I've seen this city evolve over the last couple of decades. For those of you who are here for the first time, some of you, of course, are continuing from programs here at George Washington or from other institutions in this area, so you already know a lot about this city. But for those who are new, and we do have international students who have come to us from very far away, I hope that you will have an opportunity to take some time to get to know this extraordinary city, which has probably a greater per capita concentration of museums than any city in this nation, and probably than most cities anywhere in the world. You'll discover, I think, to your delight, that most of what this city has to offer in the arts is free. All of the museums and the Smithsonian Institution are free. There are free concerts regularly at and theater productions regularly at the Kennedy Center just down the street. We're surrounded by agencies and institutions with which we have important partnerships that you can take advantage of. Just this summer, I signed a memorandum of understanding with Dr. Wayne Clough, former president of Georgia Tech University, who is now the secretary of the Smithsonian. We signed a memorandum of understanding which involves each of us investing resources in joint programs between the Smithsonian and the George Washington University. And some of your work will probably be involved, in the case of some of your disciplines, will probably be involved in that partnership. And of course, it's just one example of many that I could give. Our partnerships with the World Bank, with the U.S. government agencies that surround us, with the many embassies that surround us for those who have an interest in international affairs and global policy. There's a great deal that this city has to offer you. And I do invite you to take advantage of the vibrant arts scene here. There are more than half a dozen professional theater troupes here in Washington, which again is an extraordinary concentration for a city with a population of only about 500,000, of course a larger metropolitan area, but it is a vibrant arts scene that I think is not always understood or appreciated about Washington in other parts of the world. We're not just a center here of policy and politics and power. This city is also a center of the arts, a center of the intellect, and very much a center of science. We have the National Institutes of Health, the National Science Foundation, NIST, many other agencies in the immediate vicinity of our campus or of the city of Washington. All of that I urge you to take advantage of, to find out about, because I think that will enrich your experience here if you're coming from outside the Washington area. But at the same time, I do encourage you to take advantage of what our community has to offer internally. We have an extraordinary world music concert series every year at Lisner Auditorium, just right across from the building we're in right now, just immediately south of this building, Lisner Auditorium, and you can take advantage of that. We have a vibrant student arts scene here, which many of you, I think, will not only enjoy but probably find yourselves participating in. I hope at some point you may have an opportunity to go up to our Mount Vernon campus and visit West Hall, our newest residence hall, which, by the way, received a gold LEED certification because of its environmentally sustainable systems. We're very proud of that fact. But what's really important about it is, from your point of view, is that it's going to be a new student arts center as well as a residence hall, because it has a black box theater, it has a studio space there, recording studio actually, art studio space, and it'll be another center for student activities, just like the Marvin Center where we're located here. So we'll have that complement on the Mount Vernon campus to what we are able to do here on Foggy Bottom. So I encourage you to get to know your university community, and I also encourage you to give us feedback on ways in which we can improve our outreach and our services that we provide to graduate students. You know, traditionally in American universities, there was sort of a sense that undergraduates, because they come in as a body, are sort of the students of the university as a whole, whereas graduate students were traditionally thought of as being assigned to particular departments or particular schools within the university in a much more direct way. And so there was sort of a sense that departments would respond to the needs of graduate students so the university didn't have to worry about them so much. I think it's fair to say that that's been a tradition in American universities. Well, that's changing. We're very interested in changing that here. I had student office hours today and actually met with a graduate student who had some very concrete ideas about improvements that we could make in some of the services that we offer to students. So I encourage you to reach out to Dr. Lerman, our new provost, from whom you're going to hear next. I encourage you to reach out directly to me. You just met Tora Woods, who I'm very proud and glad to say is a student liaison in my office. We have a program here called the Presidential Administrative Fellows, in which former undergraduates who remain on our campus as graduate students are selected, a select body of them become Presidential Administrative Fellows. It's a great program because it keeps us in touch with student experience by having actual current students who are former undergraduates located directly in our offices, and they can kind of keep us connected with what's going on in student life. But I'd also welcome your input directly. If anything comes up, don't hesitate to contact me either directly or through Tura, and we will learn from you and be guided by you in providing the kinds of responses and the kinds of service that will make you feel truly, as you truly are, members of this great George Washington University community. So welcome, thanks. I look forward to getting to know you. By the way, I live on campus. You'll probably see me walking around. If you don't recognize me right away, you may notice walking beside me a small white dog whose name is Ruffles, who very much enjoys meeting students of all departments, ages, national origins. And if you come up and say hello to Ruffles, you can also tell me your name and what you're working on. I'd be very interested in getting to know you. So again, welcome to this campus, and I look forward to getting to know you as part of the George Washington University community. Thank you.
Hello? Oh, yes, that's on. Well, thank you very much. I'm Steve Lerman, and I have the honor and privilege of being the provost of George Washington University. I'll probably take a minute to explain what a provost is for many of you. But like you, I am new to this university. I have been in academia my whole life, but about 6 months ago now, maybe 8 months ago, I was approached by the group looking for a new provost for this university, and was incredibly attracted to the idea of coming to a place with the vitality and the rapid improvements and changes that are happening here. So after 35 years on the faculty of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, I decided to accept the generous offer to become the provost here. A provost is the chief academic officer of a university, at least for those of you who come from American universities. Not everybody organizes their universities in the same way. And so the school deans report through me, and student life reports to me. And it's sort of the place where a lot of the integration of policy and decision-making and resource allocation actually happen. In terms of graduate education, though, I have a special fondness and affinity. First of all, one of my positions when I left MIT to come here was as Dean for Graduate Education. So I was deeply enmeshed in graduate education for a period of my career there. But maybe more importantly, I actually lived for the last 9 years in a graduate residence, a graduate dormitory. I will explain what that means, because it probably will require it. So at MIT, when they built their residences, they made a room for faculty in residence. And so when they opened a new graduate residence about 9 or 10 years ago, my wife and I were invited to be the faculty residents, housemasters. So we lived literally in an apartment with 120 graduate students, not in the same apartment, I might add, just to be really clear. We lived in an apartment in a building with 120 graduate students. And so they were all first-year graduate students. This was a residence hall designed for first-year graduate students. And so over the period, we probably got to know somewhere on the order of 1,000 graduate students. So not only was I the dean at that time, but also got to deeply enmeshed in the lives and issues facing graduate students. And graduate students really are different. You are at a different stage in your intellectual development. Of course, some of you are older than others, but all of you are through, I hope, that stage of great angst that's associated with being an 18 to 22-year-old or 21-year-old. I hope you are. If you're not, you will get through it. And in many ways, as President Knapp noted, many universities haven't fully adapted to what it means to have a large community of adult learners as quite distinct, typically, from their undergraduate populations. And GW, like most places, is still working through what sort of services and what sort of programs make the most sense for you beyond your academic program, which we understand fully well what you need. This is a work in progress. Chris Diaz, actually, who will be spending part of his time working with me in my office, one of the things he'll be working on is trying to figure out what do we need to do to make your experiences here educationally better and to create a stronger sense of graduate community, first as distinct from undergraduate community, but also as distinct from your department. Your departments, your programs are all going to be little micro communities that you'll have an affinity for. So to the extent Chris is trying to roll out different things or get your opinions, please help him. It will ultimately accrue to your benefit. So what advice can I give you just quickly from my observations of literally thousands of graduate students over the years? One of the hardest transitions for some of you will be in programs where this will be the first time that your academic progress will not largely be judged through your coursework, which you of course will do, but through your research. And there is nothing quite as daunting as a doctoral thesis or a master's thesis. In part because you may have become accustomed to the idea, the term begins, the professor hands out a reading list, you do the readings, you write papers, you submit them, you take tests, and you're done, it's over. The idea of undertaking a project, say for those of you who are PhD students, and I know that's certainly not everyone here, that might span 2 or 3 years as a single project, and you're spending almost all your time on it, is a whole new concept. It is true that most people, at least in doctoral programs, don't finish, not because they can't do the coursework. They do their coursework, and they typically finish that quite quickly. The bind is climbing that mountain, which is your doctoral dissertation. And many of you may be in master's programs that require a master's thesis that in and of itself might seem a daunting project. So a couple pieces of advice. The first is, of course, is you climb mountains one step at a time. You say, I got this big thing I got to finish. I don't even know how to get started. The answer is just get started. Probably you're going to throw away the stuff you did in the first part when you started anyway. So get started, get rolling. So that's advice number one. The second is avoid mission creep. Right? Mission creep being that you start on one topic and then you say, well, wouldn't it be interesting if I did this? And then wouldn't it be interesting if I added that? And by the time you're done, you've defined a life's work of scholarship and not a thesis. Remember, it's not your life's work, it's your doctoral thesis. It's the starting point of what, in case of a doctoral thesis or a master's thesis, it's the starting point of your career, not the ending point. Define the scope carefully up front and live with it to the greatest extent you can possibly live with it. Your goal is to finish an intellectually important, coherent piece of work, but not solve every problem in your chosen discipline in one piece of research. A third piece of advice, which is your relationship with your faculty mentors should be different than it was as an undergraduate. The work as a doctoral student, you are now closer to a colleague and less of a student. You're in that middle ground, actually, which is a hard place to be, but actually intellectually sort of exciting when you think about it. You don't know as much as probably the faculty advisor. On the other hand, you're coming to the field as a learner in a partially apprentice model. And as you move later, for those of you in doctoral work, it is very much an apprentice model. We don't call it that, but you will get increasingly less immediate direction, as in do this today, do this tomorrow, do this the day after, and much more of the direction of the form of, gee, that's an interesting result. Why don't you think about it for a while and come back in 2 weeks and tell me what your thoughts are? It's a different relationship, but in some ways it's intellectually much more rewarding. It is more like the real world. For those of you who may decide to enter research, that's actually how research gets done. It is not according to script. And then the last thing is, again, I'm speaking to those of you who will be directly involved in research, the hardest thing to face is there's no known answer, right? When you take a test in a regular course, there's something reassuring to knowing there's actually an answer in many cases. The real challenge is when you don't know the answer. In fact, the real challenge will be, in many cases, you don't know the question that you need to ask. The hardest thing about writing a doctoral thesis isn't finding the answer, it's finding the question. What is it that I'm going to try to address and learn? Very often, once you've framed the question right, it's just a matter of a lot of work and time and some invention and creation to get to a point where you can write up a dissertation. So don't be overwhelmed. Take things one step at a time. Remember that you need to, this is a process. It's a marathon, not a sprint, I guess is probably the right sports metaphor for this. So with that, my last piece of advice, and sort of echoing what President Knapp said, make sure you take full advantage of everything around you. One part about it being a long educational process is you ought to take a little time to also grow as an individual. Partake of the fantastic opportunities in the Washington area that President Knapp only began to hint at in his exposition. This is a great city, as I've learned in my vast experience having lived here almost 2 months. It is a great city. There's so much going on, both within the GW community and externally. Make sure you get to experience it. It too will be part of your education. And actually, I said that was the last thing, but it wasn't. I lied. The last thing is learn from each other. That if the only way you're going to learn things is directly from the faculty, you may not be here for the right reason. Really, you should be learning from each other and the faculty. I will say in my personal experience, when I was a graduate student, I was a doctoral student actually at MIT, I shared an office with 3 other people, and we saw our professors, for meetings and stuff, maybe once a week. That was, if the professor could find the time to do that. We saw each other 10 hours a day, and we would routinely bounce ideas off each other. And we also played backgammon and stuff a lot, I'll admit, particularly when we were sort of blocked and we sort of couldn't get our heads around writing another chapter. But I will say those people actually taught me as much as any faculty member that I had exposure to, because the intensity of our interaction of talking with each other was really incredibly intellectually stimulating. So make sure that, that the people in your programs become also your co-mentors and that you learn from each other. So with that said, welcome to GW. As President Knapp lives on the Foggy Bottom campus, I actually live on the Mount Vernon campus. So while most of you will, of course, not be there, if you do get an opportunity to come up to the Mount Vernon campus, you might see me around. I ride the shuttle, which goes back and forth about every 15 minutes. That's how I get to and from work. My office is here in Rice Hall. I, like President Knapp, do have office hours for students. And so if you do need or want to talk to me, you can contact someone in my office, and they will try to arrange for a time for us to meet either during my office hours or some other time. So with that, again, welcome to GW. And it's my pleasure and honor now to introduce the president of the George Washington Alumni Association, Laura Taducci Downs. And got that right, didn't I? You like that, huh? Yeah, I got the name right. And Laura is also an alumna of our university. She has a bachelor's degree from the Columbian College of Arts and Sciences, and she also holds a graduate degree, a master's degree from the Graduate School of Education and Human Development. So she's a double-degreed George Washington alumna, and it's my pleasure and honor to give her a chance to address you.
Thank you so much. I'm not as brave as President Knapp and Provost Lerman not to have a podium and notes. So, Provost Lerman, very nice job on the pronunciation of my maiden name. President Knapp, usually he's a linguistics buff, so he likes my maiden name, likes to pronounce it. Again, my name is Laura Taducci Downs, and I am a dual graduate of the George Washington University, receiving my undergraduate degree from the Columbian College of Arts and Sciences and my graduate degree from the School of Education and Human Development. And I am proud to be the president of your GW Alumni Association. And I'd like to have this gentleman to my right introduce himself.
Gentlemen, I guess I'm making progress in this world. My name is Jim Coore. I'm a native of Brockton, Massachusetts. I am a proud graduate of an Elliott School graduate program and president-elect of your GW Alumni Association.
President Knapp mentioned that we're volunteers, and we are volunteers, and it's really an honor to serve our alumni community. And on behalf of the 225,000 living alumni worldwide, with 70,000 of those in the DC metro area alone, let me be the first to welcome you, not as graduate students, but as alumni in the making. For from this day forward, that's what you are, alumni in the making and part of a lifelong and worldwide alumni community. I had a great experience as a graduate student at GW. I worked full-time, and I attended classes part-time. As was mentioned, my master's degree is in higher education administration, and it was a great experience because what I learned in the classroom I could apply to my job, which was in the Office of Undergraduate Admissions at the time. You will find it easy to combine work and internships with your graduate studies. Truly a great way to learn inside and outside the classroom. But the one opportunity I did not take advantage of as a graduate student was the GW alumni community. We encourage you as GW graduate students to get involved now with the Alumni Association. Attend one of our How Do I Become a Speaker series featuring prominent alumni from all walks of life. Some of my favorite have been How Do I Become an Astronaut featuring alumnus Charlie Carmada, or How Do I Become a State Supreme Court Justice featuring the Honorable Joseph Baca. Probably my favorite was How Do I Become a CIA Operative, but I can't give you the name of that alumnus for obvious reasons. Join our online alumni career advisor network, which consists of over 1,000 alumni who are waiting to offer you career mentoring. It's a great way to network as you begin to look for employment. Be sure to join the GW LinkedIn group, which has over 12,000 members, both students and alumni, and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. All are excellent ways to network with your fellow graduate students and alumni and to be the first to learn about new events and services. We also offer networking nights that will give you the opportunity to meet and network with alumni and opportunities to have your resumes critiqued by alumni. Once you do graduate,
We offer free career consulting, and this is a program that was established by a loyal alumnus who is funding this out of his own pocket to provide free career consulting. Also, upon graduation, be sure to utilize all of our great services we offer alumni, including discounted travel around the world with faculty, the ability to audit courses for a small fee, and ongoing access to the university's libraries. Keep in touch with us, attend your class reunions, and remember, no matter where in the world you land, the Alumni Association and its 225,000 members will be standing by ready to assist you. For those of you who did not attend GW as an undergraduate, Jim can identify with that, and he's going to share some insights. Jim?
Thank you, Laura. One fact that I've come to understand in the last couple of years is that GW alumni are ubiquitous in Washington, D.C. I think that's because GW has a long history of being the go-to place to advance your career and learn concurrently. I think the legacy is in the numbers. 55% of our living alumni received graduate degrees. That is, they don't have an undergraduate experience with the George Washington University. 55% of our living alums have graduate degrees. There are some very notable examples. The Honorable former Secretary of State Colin Powell, U.S. Coast Guard Commandant retired Thad Allen, VA Assistant Secretary Tammy Duckworth, Assistant Secretary of State Rose Gottmuller, who just negotiated the Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty, and former Ambassador Charles Ford, who was one of the most decorated and accomplished U.S. Foreign and Commercial Service officers. I tend to reference the foreign affairs community because I work at the U.S. Department of State as a senior advisor to the Undersecretary for Management. But we have distinguished alums in so many fields, in medicine, engineering, and law. 31% of our living alumni live within 100 miles of where you are sitting today, because DC is a fascinating place to live and work. On a personal note, while a graduate student, I was a foreign policy intern with Senator Edward Kennedy before taking a full-time federal position where I worked on the savings and loan crisis in the mid-1990s. GW is a remarkable institution, I believe that. It's the place where I was able to concurrently learn from world-class scholars, world-class professors, begin a great career, and forge some lifetime bonds. I met my wife at GW, many dear friends, and I had a wonderful academic experience. I was active in the Graduate Student Forum and in the Elliott School community. It all kind of worked together, and it was a great experience that was rich and personally satisfying and professionally satisfying all at the same time. GW has provided me the opportunity twice to become part of the professional and social fabric of the community. First as a student and later as an alum. In 2001, about 9 years ago, the Elliott School Career Center helped me reintegrate into the Washington, D.C. job market after 4 years in Seattle. Like so many people, I chased the tech bubble. It was a timing thing. But that involvement with GW and the support that I received from the institution when I came back truly was a game changer for me, and it gave me a competitive advantage coming back into Washington, D.C. And the benefits of being affiliated with GW continue to accrue. There are so many. GW is a common touch point with business associates. I joke that you can't go to a meeting in Washington, D.C., shake a stick, and not hit a GW alumni. Your graduate school buddies, and perhaps getting a little less formal here, they're going to be your future colleagues, you know, and depending upon they're going to be your colleagues because you're in specialized academic and professional disciplines. People pop up. They pop up all the time. There's one person in particular that I work with at the department. I routinely see her. We work on the same projects. I used to see her a lot at student parties. A little more detail is we actually hung out a lot. We danced a lot at some bars that are still here and some bars that have... Well, it's all part of developing social and professional networks. And just you're able to engender some trust and some familiarity with people when you get to know them, academically and personally and professionally, and you can engender some trust. So if you are going to dance with your colleagues that are your academic colleagues, don't drop them. That is not a way of engendering trust. Fortunately, I never dropped this particular person, and business has been smooth. There are a few others that are notable that I run into on a regular basis in interagency meetings. It just makes business go smoother and also feel connected as part of the community. In closing, I'm going to encourage you to be part of the community. Stay engaged, be engaged now and in the future, and it's my hope that your experience here is personally and professionally enriching. Invest a bit, you'll get a huge return. Enjoy your time here at the university, and the Alumni Association looks forward to being of service now and in the future. It's my pleasure to introduce Bridget Bailing, who is the Director of Student Involvement at the Student Activity Center.
Welcome, incoming graduate students. It's my honor to be here with you tonight. As Jim Core mentioned, I am the Director of Student Involvement in the Student Activities Center, and one of my roles there is to work on grad life initiatives. You've already heard tonight about how to be a successful student and about what it means to be alumni in the making. I'm here tonight to talk to you about another important aspect of your time here, life outside the books, through a program we call Grad Life. Grad Life is collaboratively run by myself and another full-time staff member in the Student Activities Center, Nikki Buckholes. She can't be here tonight because she's actually out on Kogan Plaza making sure that everything's set to go for the barbecue that we're all going to attend after this event, but she sends her welcomes as well. Grad Life is exclusively for graduate students and focuses on three areas that are pertinent to all of you: programming that builds community, resource development, and advocacy. We offer a variety of opportunities for students from all programs to meet each other and expand your networks. Last year, over 20 events were planned exclusively for graduate students and included things such as flag football and dodgeball tournaments, outdoor adventure activities with our trails programs such as hiking and rock climbing, billiards nights in the Hippodrome, an off-campus student services fair, and a Super Bowl party at HOVA, which is one of our graduate student residence halls, among other graduate and residence hall programs. This year, we will offer similar programs and more for grad students. We're excited to continue our partnership with the Graduate Student Enrollment Management Office by advertising Academic Success Series workshops, which offer information on topics like job search strategies, electronic theses and dissertations, an open house at the Career Center for graduate students, and many more topics. Clint Williams and Kristen Williams are here tonight from that office. If you can please wave to folks so they can know who you are, as we're getting to know each other in the graduate community. An additional way that Grad Life provides resources for you is through our listserv and website. We're proud to offer you a specialized listserv that is sent just to graduate students and to keep you updated on resources and important university information, as well as programs that we're planning for you. In order to keep you informed, each of you has already been added to this Grad Life listserv, which will now be sent every Tuesday. Throughout the summer, we worked on updating the gradlife.gwu.edu website. We recently developed a new design for this site, and this format will allow you to find information and resources more quickly and easily, and allow us to post information and more resources for you. Currently, the Grad Life website offers information about housing resources. There's an area on there where you can actually post if you're looking for a roommate, or if you're seeking for a roommate. If you're looking for housing, you can also look what's available in the neighborhoods throughout DC. You can also look for job opportunities through our website. We offer a connection to the Career Center and information on how to get connected to them. We offer answers on frequently asked questions that we receive from graduate students, a survey that you can fill out to let us know what programs, resources, and website content you'd like to see from Grad Life, as well as information about how to get involved in graduate student organizations at GW. Grad organizations here range from topics specific to academic programs to broader topics like the Conflict Resolution Forum or Net Impact, which promotes environmental responsibility, something I know President Neff is fond of. Many graduate programs also offer student councils related to the specific program of study. In addition to that, the Student Association, which is GW's student government, serves both undergrad and graduate students, and they're always looking for graduate students to get more involved in that. Last year, we also launched the Social Go part of our Grad Life website, which is a graduate student-only online social community that offers you the opportunity to create a profile, join groups, and interact with other graduate students. And as always, we'll be sure to advertise all the programs and events that we've got planned exclusively for you on our website. So we'll continue to develop the information offered on this site and welcome your suggestions about what you would like to see. Grad Life staff also serve on various committees throughout the university to advocate on your behalf, and we want to hear from you. So please visit our website and find information about these resources I mentioned tonight. Come introduce yourselves to us at the barbecue after this, or feel free to stop by Marvin Center 427 just upstairs to meet myself and meet Nikki, and so we can get to know who you are and what you'd like to see here. Many opportunities await you during your time at GW. Make the most of them. Get involved and see what grad life is like here outside the books. Now I would like to invite Megan Smith and Brian Engel to come to the podium to begin the pinning ceremony.
Good evening, and as so many others have said, welcome to GW. Like you, I am also a brand new graduate student on this campus, and I'm about to begin working on a master's degree in the School of Public Health and Health Services.
I'll be studying Middle East Studies at the Elliott School of International Affairs. Although we are enrolled in a wide array of degree programs, one thing we have in common is that we are beginning our academic journey here together. I'd like to invite two fellow members of our class to join us on stage. At this time, please welcome Amy Motika, a master's candidate in the School of Business, and Ben Baraski, a master's candidate in the College of Professional Studies.
You symbolize the incoming graduate class of 2010. Please accept this pin as a gift from the university. As we bestow this pin upon you, we encourage you to keep it close to your heart.
Today marks the start of your lifelong affiliation with the GW community. Now I would like to invite all graduate students in the audience to stand and please put on your pins. Welcome to the George Washington University.
Thank you all for being here. Let me say that if you drove to campus, please pick up a parking validation form. You can sit down if you would like to, although this will be quite brief. We're going to wrap up the ceremony. If you drove to campus today, please pick up a parking validation form as you leave the theater, and you will receive a discounted rate in the garage. If you use the child care services that were part of the event, please remember to retrieve your child. That is a reminder that I'm mean, because once we had someone who left a child, and I think the child became a graduate student. It was quite a confusing time for all of us. There is, as was mentioned, a barbecue on the other side of this building as you leave the theater. Ushers will be glad to show you the way. Thank you all for being here. Best of luck in your graduate program.